for your Glover Teixeira versus Jamahal breakdown, baby. Oh man, I cannot wait for this fight. You guys know I'm a big Glover Teixeira mark. I love Glover Teixeira. He's my boy. Man, I've been with him since the whole damn fucking ride, man. If you guys been a part of this channel since day one, you guys know I done picked Glover for all the fucking fights, even against the punk ass samurai. But we'll talk about that later. But yeah, now he's fighting Jamahal in the main event for UFC 283. This is a film study breakdown, so I had to go watch some of that film, and I'll show you guys what I watched and what I had to break it down. But yeah, man, interesting fight, man. I never thought Jamahal would ever kind of get to Glover Teixeira because I'd assumed Glover would have retired by now. But yeah, hey, now we're here. So the situation is, they tried to give Ankalaev a chance at the belt. They tried to give Dagestan another belt, and Ankalaev kind of just threw his chance away. He decided to try to strike with John Blachowicz instead of just doing the right thing and wrestle. But and yeah, he caught himself in a draw, and that was for the vacant title, man. I always had a feeling they should have probably kept it or made it like an interim title at that day, and I just knew that might have been the wrong decision. But if they wanted to go with, Ankalaev as that new era, and they wanted to show him that he is a value fighter, in that company, because I remember I was hearing reports seeing reports that Ankalaev was saying he didn't feel valued. So I thought maybe, they were trying to do something like that for him and make him feel like, hey, you are a part of this company. We do value you, even though you're not a draw, like we respect your skill. And he kind of blew it for himself, and Jan and him, they just I didn't think the fight when I watched the fight live, I didn't think it was a bad fight, but I guess they didn't do a good job in front of the boss. So the boss was like, you know what, let's do Jamahal, let's take him out of his fight with Andy Smith, let's have him fight Glover Teixeira in the main event of UFC 283. So I mean, it's a fight, it's a good fight at light heavyweight. And it's a good fight on this pay-per-view card, because it looked like we were going to have Brandon Moreno and Davis Figueiredo main event, which isn't bad, but this is, more fights that are good on a card is better than less fights that are good on a card, right? So you got to look at it from that perspective. But yeah, it's an interesting fight, man. And the story of this fight, it's really hard to describe, but the story is really the word opportunity. And second chances, you know what I'm saying? This is Glover Teixeira's second chance at getting some gold, running it back with that fucking samurai probably later this year, and redemption. And for Jamahal, man, this is the ultimate second chance. And let's not forget, 3 fights ago, he was out here getting submitted by fucking Paul Craig, right? All right, he wasn't no title contender just a year ago. Just look at a year and 7 months. Just passed, and now he's in this situation, and not in a year did I ever think Jamahal would be in this situation. And now he is, and he has the opportunity to immortalize himself in the history books as a world champion, beating a legitimate man, like all-time great in Glover Teixeira, in the main event in Brazil, making history. It's humongous, and not short notice, but still on a kind of weird circumstances. It's an opportunity of a lifetime, and you have to seize moments like this. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I love about this fight is I think both guys know how fucking meaningful this is. This doesn't happen all the time. This wasn't supposed to happen, so they know they have to give their all into this fight. And I think we're going to see a fucking scrap for at least 5 straight minutes of just nonsense and just chaos. That's what I think we'll see. Obviously, you guys know who I'm going to be rocking with. You already know. But, hey, it is what it is. But, yeah, let's talk about the stats, man. Glover Teixeira is obviously, I think, the number 1 light heavyweight in the world. I'm pretty sure. Jamahal like either 7 or 6. And, yeah, Glover comes with a record of 33-8. He's fighting out of Connecticut, from Brazil, so this is home soil for him. Age 43, a height of 6'2", and a reach of 76. Jamahal Hill comes to the record 11-1, is fighting out of Michigan, is 31 years old, a height of 6'4", and a reach of 79. So he's obviously Jamahal Hill is the younger guy, the taller guy, and the longer guy in this matchup. And here's the thing with Jamahal Hill, and let's talk about his length. I always hear those comparisons with him and John Jones. I always see more Rampage out of him, but I get the comparisons because he's long. He's a long dude, but I don't know. His style reminds me more of Rampage. That was a thought that was in my head that I wanted to get out. But yeah, it is what it is. But yeah, he's a longer guy. He can use that jab. He can use that reach. He's a difficult guy to deal with in the striking. Even though I don't think his boxing is as crisp as some people think it is, I'll just say. But his size and his length and his power is something to behold, though. And it is a problem. It is a problem. You do not want to get touched by that. But yeah, so yeah, those are the things. So I did a 3-fight film study on both these guys, but let's start off with Jamahal Hill. I looked at his, and the way I did it, you guys know I've been doing it like this for a minute now. I look at a fight where they fought a similar opponent and they lost, and I also look at a fight where they fought a similar opponent and they won, and then their most recent fight. So let's talk about the Paul Craig fight. It was kind of dumb. It was a really dummy fight of him. Jamahal Hill showed very low IQ, and after that, I really was like, all right, this guy might not be championship level material. After watching this Paul Craig fight, he really went into clinch with Paul Craig. He allowed Paul Craig to use an aggressive guard pull. If you watch this fight, just look at how well Paul Craig's able to control him on the ground. And just imagine what Glover Teixeira could be able to do. Now, obviously, Glover Teixeira is not a bottom player or a guard player, whatever you want to call it. He's more of a top guy. He's on you. He's getting takedowns. He's on top of you. He's not on the back usually. But just look at how Paul Craig was able to control this guy. And then eventually to get the submission and break his fucking arm and then make him look stupid on national television after all the mess he talked too prior. It just was one of those fights. It just really hurt his stock, in my humble opinion. But Jamahal Hill, man, after that fight, though, I give the kid a lot of credit. He fucking came back from the ashes and proved me wrong. Obviously, some of the matchups were a little weird and a little favorable towards him. In my opinion, the Santos and then the Johnny Walker, especially the Johnny Walker fight, was somewhat favorable to him. But to be honest, though, when he fought Jimmy Crute should have won that fight. Jimmy Crute has won over Paul Craig. He's a phenomenal grappler. If you go watch his fight against Mikhail Olenjacek, he fucking raped him. No disrespect, and that's what really happened. But Jamahal Hill in this fight, he completely just overpowered him with striking power and punching power, and he just touched Crute and Crute fell, and Crute fell after the first punch. And he tried to grab Jamahal Hill, and Jamahal Hill was able to get out the way, and then eventually Jamahal Hill fucking flatline KO'd him and just smoked him in that octagon. And that was a skilled opponent that can grapple at a high level, and that's something that Glover's gonna have to worry about. We've seen Glover get smoked. We've seen it. Rumble Johnson, RIP, smoked his ass in that fight. So there's a lot of things that can happen if Jamahal Hill can touch that chin. You can see he has one hitter quitter power. The guy does. He touches you. You don't usually wake up. You got to be really durable. And obviously Glover is tough as they come, but man, Jamahal Hill showed a lot in that fight against Crute. So yeah, that's something to look forward to. And then obviously the Thiago Santos fight. I picked Thiago Santos in here, and I felt it was weird. I felt like I was watching. I was like, fuck, Thiago could have won that. But he got tired. Yeah, Thiago, he got 6 takedowns in there, and this is a common opponent with Glover Teixeira. So skill level, you look at the wrestling, you don't like that, to see a guy like Thiago Santos, who's normally a striker, go out wrestle you, and you're gonna fight Glover Teixeira next. That's just not a good look. But he got a lot of takedowns, but I will give Jamahal Hill this: he did get up a lot from it. So that's why Thiago needed 6 of them to get him back down. Thiago used a lot of single legs, back trips, a lot of stuff like that to get him down. And eventually it kind of caught up with him with the cardio. And that's one thing I'll give Jamahal Hill in this matchup, even though some people rag him for the grappling deficiency. You can be like, all right, maybe his grappling hasn't gotten better since the Paul Craig fight. One thing I'll give him is his heart. He really overcame a lot of adversity in this fight. And especially in these last 3 sequences I'm going to show you, Jamahal Hill walked him down, threw straight shots, and went in the fire with Thiago Santos, back and forth in the pocket. He showed actually a pretty good chin too. He did take some punches. He had a lump on his head. He took a lot of damage in that fight and was able to break Thiago Santos and knock him out, or not knock him out, finish him via strikes on the ground. And he showed a lot, man, to go through the fire, to be losing in the wrestling department, and then eventually walk him down and then finish him. It's something that I give him a lot of credit for that. You know, he showed some heart. He showed talent. He showed that he can hang with those guys. And all right, let's compare. You know, last guy to really finish Thiago Santos out of his last few opponents was Glover and Jamahal Hill, right? Like Rakic didn't finish him. Johnny Walker didn't finish him. Ankalaev didn't finish him. It was Jamahal Hill and Glover, you know, that finished Thiago Santos. And that's something to respect. You can say maybe Thiago's just completely washed and his time is done, but it was really impressive for Jamahal Hill to go out there and do that to Thiago Santos, you know, even though the wrestling deficiencies are going to be in question, you know what I'm saying? So that was his most recent fight, and now we're here. I would have liked to see that Anthony Smith fight that he was scheduled to have. He does have Anthony Smith in his corner, or not in his corner, in his training camp, and Anthony Smith is a alternate. So we could see that fight for the belt, if God forbid. So now we're here, and now we're to Glover Teixeira. So the fights I looked for Glover was obviously the Thiago Santos fight, the Anthony Smith fight, and then obviously his fight with Yuri Prochazka. And let's talk about the Anthony Smith fight. Anthony Smith did really good in this fight, man, against Glover Teixeira in those first 2 rounds. The straight shots were landing at a very, very high clip, and that's something that Jamahal Hill is going to have to watch. Is the 1-2 down the pipe was just beautiful. The feints, he feint, jab, then throw the 2, and it was beautiful. And that's something that Jamahal Hill is going to have to use. He has the longer arms, and it's something that's going to be needed because Glover is boxing heavy, and he does like rely on lead counter hooks, you know what I'm saying? Like that's the kind of way he fights, is that he's always, if you watch him, he's always like boom, block, right? That's how he does it, right? So that's something he's gonna have to rely on, and Jamahal is gonna have to put that stick on him like Anthony Smith did. But the problem with Anthony Smith in this fight is that he kind of got tired, and you can't get tired against Glover Teixeira, and Glover Teixeira took advantage of it. He started taking away the space in between him and Anthony. Anthony was using a good jab to get away from Glover and keeping his distance, but eventually Glover started, y'all. Just my alarm was tripping. But like I was saying, Anthony was using that jab to get away from Glover and stuff like that. But eventually Glover started taking up the space, controlling it. And then eventually he did drop him, and he got him good. It was a beautiful shot. And he just was hurting Anthony with every shot. Uppercuts were landing at a beautiful clip. Everything that Glover did in there was to hurt Smith, breaking his fucking teeth. Like he just destroyed him. And that's the thing, you know, at the end of the day, Glover, it's crazy to think, you know, that Glover was the dog coming into this, and everyone thought Glover was going to get smashed by Smith. And I told a lot of people that was going to happen, that Glover was going to smoke him. And people look dumb now. They was like, oh man, my bad. But yeah, he fucking, one of my favorite. You guys know I hate Anthony Smith, so anytime I rewatch this fight, it's just joy. He got I forgot how bad he got beat up. And it's a well-deserved beating. But yeah, it was fun to watch. But yeah, he just kept hurting him, and then he got takedowns eventually. Took him down, and then yeah, everything he did, man, hurt Smith. Smith started shooting for takedowns and just almost giving up in that fight. And eventually Glover was able to get him out of there, and he finished him. And that was a really good performance by Glover. But the problem is Glover got touched up a little bit, and there's things that Jamahal can learn from. That was the straight shots that were landing down the pipe, and the 1-2, the jab, keeping your distance, spacing, not letting Glover cut the cage, let Glover chase, and then you can set him up with an uppercut or anything, a counter shot. You know what I'm saying? Glover will go forward, so he is more willing to take a shot to either get a takedown or to give his own shot. So it's kind of a situation like that. And then I watched the Thiago Santos fight, common opponent. I mean, Thiago landed, right? He landed some good shots. He wobbled Glover bad in that first round. Then Glover kind of, he was able to withstand that pressure, get his own big takedown into mount. Like, he got the fucking back slammed Thiago and then mounted him, which was fucking insane. And yeah, so he ended up dominating that second round, took him down, ended up getting that second round out of the bank, you know, just dominating the whole entire time. And then he got dropped in that fucking third round, and I thought it was fucking over. I remember watching that, and I remember telling people, fucking Glover Teixeira's gonna win, and I was like, oh no, I'm about to be wrong. And Glover, I don't know how he fucking did it, but he overcame the adversity like he's always done in his fucking career, and he got the back of Thiago Santos and submitted him in the third round, and it was just fucking crazy. I was like, what the fuck? This old man won't give up. And it was nuts. And then yeah, so after that, obviously he became champion, and then he fought the fucking samurai. And let's talk about this samurai fight, man, against Yuri Prochazka. I know my Czech fans are gonna like this pain I'm gonna have to go through talking about this fight. I rewatched. It's a phenomenal fight. It was a great fight. It pained me because Glover had it in the bag, man. But yeah, you know, Glover obviously got the two big takedowns in the first round, was able to control them. And then obviously Yuri kind of got the reversal near the end of that first round, and it looked good for Yuri. And this is a close fight. I understand the debate that some people make that this could have been 2-2 going into the fifth round. I had 3-1 Glover, but hey, it's just my opinion. And then yeah, so Yuri started taking over with the striking, and that second round started hurting Glover, and it was really hurting him. And then Glover ended up kind of slipping Yuri up with a check hook and got his back, dominated there, was getting a lot of good ground and pound on the ground. In that third round, it was nuts, man. There were a lot of good moments for Mr. Yuri, and he landed some really good body shots in there, and it was a fucking insane fight, man. It was just back and forth. There would be moments where Glover's getting takedowns or hurting Yuri, you know what I'm saying, on the ground with the ground and pound and stuff like that, and it just was crazy. And then in that fourth round, fucking Glover gets a takedown, is gonna submit this guy with an arm triangle, and fucking Yuri with gymnastics or whatever, or flexibility, whatever the fuck he did, flipped out of it. And I was just like, what? This doesn't make sense, right? And then he's on top of Glover. And then Glover switches, gets on top of him. It was just fucking back and forth. And then in that fifth round, Glover hurts him. And this should have been it. But then fucking Glover, like the maniac that he is, goes for a fucking guillotine, lets Yuri survive. But he still was winning these moments. He was on top. And I thought he was doing his thing. And he was getting I think he got a takedown near the end, and somehow fucking Yuri reversed again, got on top, and he submitted Glover Teixeira. And I know all the fucking Yuri fanboys are like, this was the moment. eBay ate some humble pie. And yeah, I ate some humble pie, motherfucker. I did. But just come on, it doesn't make sense, man. Like, this shit don't make sense. I was like, how did he do that? But yeah, fucking Yuri did humble me that day. I was so confident. I was on my high horse that Glover was gonna beat him, and Glover almost did. He almost did, but yeah. And so there's a lot of things Jamahal can learn from this fight. Now, what Jamahal can do on the ground is not what Yuri can do. So I'm sorry, but in terms of striking, the straight shots, I forgot about knee that Yuri landed in that fight was fucking crazy too. But and the takedown defense, I forgot to even mention that. Yuri had a lot of good takedown defense moments, you know, sprawled some good takedowns. And yeah, so that's one. But yeah, so like Jamahal can learn a lot from this fight in terms of just the straight shots. Again, I always say the straight shots, the uppercuts, the 1-2s, the lead hooks, anything you can land in Glover's guard with a longer reach is going to be very valuable, you know, against Glover, because he's always going to be coming for you. He's always going to use his pressure, and he's just vulnerable to those kind of shots. I don't care who you are. You're coming straight up to me, and I throw a rear, like I throw that jab, and then I throw that uppercut. You're going straight like this, and I go through the guard. You get hit with it. It's fucking game over. I don't care who you are. And with Jamahal Hill's power, it's a big problem in this matchup. But yeah, Jamahal Hill can win this fight. But you guys know. You know who I'm fucking going with. I'm going with fucking MMA's Rocky. I'm going with Glover Teixeira, baby. My first round sub, because Jamahal Hill ain't that guy. You made fucking Thiago Santos look like a D1 fucking wrestler, and you think you're gonna do something to Glover Teixeira? Have you lost your mind? Glover Teixeira by first round sub. And we're taking that black boy out of here and sending him to the sea like they did back in the day. If you know what I'm talking about, you know what you know. But listen here, it's not even about Jamahal Hill. It's about that samurai. After we're done with that, Cap, we coming for you. Rest up your shoulder, punk. We coming, and we coming for that rematch. We taking you out, and we gonna slay you like your people used to do back in them samurai days. I know he's not from Japan, but he wanna be. So I'm giving him what he want. You donezo, Cap. Yuri Prohaska and your fanboys, get ready. See you soon, boy. See you soon. The rematch will be fantastic. So yeah, I'm out of here, y'all. We're taking you out, all right? We're teaching you how to grapple in the rematch. But hey, it is what it is. Until then, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hope you guys enjoyed this breakdown. Love y'all. Goodbye. Your boy eBay Fight Predictions out of here. And yeah.
The light heavyweight champion of the world, Glover Teixeira. Congratulations, my friend. How good does it feel to finally get this belt wrapped around your waist?
20 years, baby. You know, I have no words to describe. I was thinking so much things to say to you. So many things. I thought about it, what I'm gonna say.
But you are an inspiration to so many people. To the people in Brazil, to the people in Danbury, Connecticut, if you had a message to share as now the UFC light heavyweight champion, what would that be?
Never give up in your dreams. No matter what people say, don't listen to them. They're gonna put you down. Don't listen to those negative people. Believe in yourself, keep going forward.